Welcome to the Situation Room. I'm your host Khalid, but we are on PTV World discussing all that has ensued post the Pahalgam false flag operation. A lot of developments on the national, regional and international arena. We've been discussing the United Nations Security Council closed door meeting that was held, and of course all that ensued as a result of that, the declaration that came out after that. Azim Iftikhar Sahab talked about that while briefing the media, and of course the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres' statements on restraint as far as both India and Pakistan are also concerned. At the same time, a lot of more of India's lies are being unearthed. With every passing day, more and more people are questioning India's pretensions and India's desire for this warmongering and jingoism that has been going on, not only since the 22nd of last month, but also even before that. There was a certain hegemonic design that India has always had under the BJP, and more evidences of that are being unearthed as we speak. Also, the fact that India knows that Pakistan is completely ready if it ventures into any such unfortunate act of action from their border towards ours. The fact also remains that the Indian media is also questioning, although there are a lot of the Indian media that we call the Godi media that also perpetuate the same narrative that Narendra Modi's government is also following or posturing towards. The fact also remains that a lot of people in the Indian Hill Valley, and of course a lot of media people are also not willing to understand the Indian perspective. In all of this comes the Indian isolation, diplomatic and otherwise, because many of the countries that India has tried to attach itself to in order to get a response that could blame Pakistan has not happened, whether it be on the UNSC platform, whether it be all the important countries, whether it be Russia, China or other countries, or even the US or China. No country has blamed Pakistan at all. They have all talked about terrorism, they have all talked about the incident, but no finger pointing as India had wanted has come towards Pakistan. That and more will be discussed in this very hour. We've been joined by three guests. Let me introduce them to you one by one. On my very right is our very dear co-anchor, host of her own show and of an analyst, Maryam. Maryam, thank you very much to have joined us. We've also been joined by Saith Usama Chitrali, who is an international affairs analyst. Chitrali sahab, thank you very much to have joined us. We've also been joined by Dr. Jamil Khan, who is a former ambassador and a foreign affairs analyst as well. Thank you very much, Dr. Jamil. Good to see you online. Whenever you're here, we are reassured that we are going to have a good hour with a lot of important answer question sessions. We will begin with you, Chitrali sahab. Chitrali sahab, how, in your point of view, has the failure of the Pahalgam false flag operation contributed to the growing diplomatic isolation that India is now observing with every passing day, especially after the global rejection of its baseless allegations against Pakistan? Because this is what it wanted. It wanted the finger pointing towards Pakistan. That hasn't happened.
With beginning to the India, when they started this false flag operation of Pahalgam, and with no ground and even the baseless assessments they had, and they're all I think India is still lacking to do the failure analysis of their own upon the security issues. Till yet they are blaming Pakistan, wasting all the energies upon these diplomatic arenas. One thing we have to realize that now the world is changing, and in this the facts and the empirical analysis are also becoming accurate after this all digital media and sensitization. So I think right now India has to go with the legitimate and a rational pattern to address this Pahalgam attack. It was actually something which was I think it was an inhuman, and and the grounds were really for the humanitarian ground. It was not some good incident being happened, and no one supports it, even not Pakistan.
Nobody supports terrorism.
Yes, definitely. So right now it is really important to, beside increasing the regional tension, which has been also called by UNSC and the others, the P5 countries even asked India to, beside raising out the regional tension, the India should focus upon the grounds to address this terrorism issues, which has been also faced by Pakistan. If you look to the Balochistan region and the other side of the south side of the KPK right now is being challenged with the terrorism.
Of course, so these challenges that Pakistan is facing are of course being tackled by the Pakistani defense forces and the Pakistani government as well. We'll talk about all of this and much more later. We have to go to a short break. Welcome back. You're watching Situation Room on PTV World. I'm Omar Khalid Butt, and now we are going to revert to Maryam Zia, our co-anchor and of course an analyst as well. Maryam, we just heard the news of the media persons who are going to go to Muridki and to Bahawalpur tomorrow, and of course they are going to be shown different areas so as to debunk those false allegations that the Indian media has been perpetrating. Speaking of the Indian media since the 22nd of last month has been going on and on this war mongering, on this jingoism, on this false narrative, and they have, you know, gone even beyond certain limits that normally media across the world never you know, could or should pass towards.
Right.
How important in your point of view is the matter of fact to debunk all these baseless accusations that the Indian government and the Indian media is forcing as far as the Pakistan and its Pakistani backing and the terrorist camps in AJK and so on and so forth is concerned, and how important is it also for Pakistan to make its media and the international media realize the real facts?
Right, very important and pertinent questions, Omar, and it is very important and significant visit by our Ministry of Information that we are taking along our correspondents from Pakistan and international correspondents to those areas. But this is not shocking for me when we look at the rhetoric that is being taken by the Indian media. When we look at Indian media, and it was part of my thesis to look at comparison between Pakistani and Indian media post 9/11.
Right.
And I looked at the language they used when such incidents have taken place. And let me remind you, this is not the first time that such an incident has taken place. It is the 5th such incident in the past 25 years in the history of Pakistan-India relations. So we also have to remember that when we talk about India-Pakistan relations, and the last incident being in 2019, and also we cannot forget the fact that in December 2023, one of the commanders of Balochistan Liberation Army, he confessed that he was supported by India. So all these factors are important to highlight. We cannot only focus on this recent incident of Pahalgam that of course Indian media is portraying, but we have to remember the facts and the history, because the context is going to be building lessons for us. So first question was about debunking those myths. So debunking those myths is very important because we know that post 2016, when Burhan Wani was murdered, the question was that Pakistan is supporting state-sponsored terrorism in India. But after 2016, and the language that was being used in India was such, when we look at the language that was being used by the anchors, and they were hyperventilating and the kind of words they were used. So we have to remember that. But of course, there was a force after 2016 that made Indian media realize that it is their local freedom movement, and they have to go for a plebiscite as per United Nations Security Council resolutions. But when we talk about Pakistan's media, of course, we keep on reminding not only our audiences, but international audiences and multilateral forums as well, that how important it is that the Kashmir issue to be resolved. Otherwise, these two nuclear powers will always remain at such a point that, you know, billions of lives are at stake. Of course,
that is so
of course.
True. And the second part of me, I mean, you've answered both my questions, but the media always has played an important role. And when you see media perpetuating a false narrative, it raises a lot of questions about the whole identity of a media in a country. You know,
and I want to apologize and interject because I memorize a point that we cannot forget the recent, recent documents that came forward that all this Pahalgam operation was orchestrated by India itself, and of course
that came on Telegram.
on Telegram, right? And that was supposed to be on media after 36 hours, but their media, being Indian media, they were very much active, and they, you know, started using those language and pointed fingers towards Pakistan very early on. And this is one of the reasons that the international media is not very much engaged when it comes to India's stance on such instances, because they don't trust India anymore.
All right. There is no trust in India anymore because of this false narrative, this warmongering and jingoism that has no basis whatsoever. Jamil Saab, coming to you. So many questions regarding Pakistan's diplomacy, Pakistan's diplomatic efforts, but also how the world is reacting post this Pahalgam false flag operation. We are seeing no pointing of fingers from any country whatsoever as far as Pakistan is concerned. Everybody is talking about terrorism, and of course this is justifiably so, because terrorism, Pakistan understands what terrorism is all about, because we have faced this for decades and we have lost tens of thousands of lives as a result of that. How do you assess the shift in global sentiment, where even India's strategic partners such as the US, the UK, France have retained or refrained rather from supporting the Indian false flag narrative post the Pahalgam issue?
So this shift, this change in the attitude of the world as compared to what has been happening in past, there has to be some reason, right? And previously, you might have seen that during Uri incident of 2016 and then 2018 and the Pulwama and all that time, once they had a false flag operation, any VIP coming from or any high dignitary coming from United States to visit India, and they would have about 5-6 of them. I can enumerate it statewide, but one of them is quite proven. That is the Chhattispura incident, in which the innocent Sikhs were assassinated by Indians themselves just to stage that false flag operation. And no one less than Clinton, he himself wrote in the preface of its own Secretary of State's book. So that was proven, and that is the evidence is available with our six people there, and the justice for Sikhs. But then coming back, then let's see why this time that India tried its best and it could not link Pakistan, despite its best efforts with the Pahalgam. And the reason which I can explain to you is that this time, if we examine each point of the Security Council Committee the statement, Elamia, and we'll find that they all those points are within the international legal framework. And because it is within the international legal framework, the world could get convinced. That is one. And then diplomacy normally, unless you have the consistency and continuity, then it starts, the memory starts fading out of the world and world community. So this time, our people might have noticed that this time there's a consistency, continuity, and there's a participation of the world the community leaders, foreign ministers, the ambassadors are meeting our leadership, and our leadership briefing them, and after that they are sending cables to their respective foreign office, and that's how the opinions are being formed. So that's the reason this time India could not really propel its market, its narrative, which it has been. One thing I must underscore here, that India has been trying always, and to some extent, at some stages, India had some success. And what was it? Basically, the Kashmir cause is enunciated in about 15 different in the Security Council resolution. And the most important resolution is the resolution number 47, passed in 1948, in which the Kashmiris have the right for the self-determination, the plebiscite. it has been denied to them. There is a violation, and I'll come what's the solution to that violation of the international law, which is the Security Council resolution and the UN Charter. So once the freedom fighting is authorized and allowed by the United Nations Secretary General Assembly Resolution 2625 and 3246 and 2629, in which the oppressed people of the occupation, they have the right to struggle, fight for their self-determination and for their liberation. So this is what the Kashmiris have been trying, and that's a self-grown resistance movement. And India has been always trying to lament them as a terrorist. And that's how the world were finding very difficult to support the Kashmiris, because Kashmiris somehow India was trying to propel its narrative, whether it was through the info lab of 700 different outlets or through all the means which India had. And also India capitalized and monopolized its geopolitical position, particularly once it comes to containment of China. So if all these dots, what I have just put it across, and which all these points and pointers which I have put it across, I think we can very conveniently conclude that India now this time along is failed to link Pakistan. And why it links Pakistan? It links Pakistan because India wants to prove that those about 1 million troops which they have deployed in the occupied territory, they have a justification, because again there are international laws which authorizes the nations and the governments and the authorities to deal with the terrorists. So that is what they were doing all along. But this time they're finding it difficult. And why they're finding it difficult? Because the statement which was passed by the Security Council, and by the way, these statements are passed after the consultative process, of the P5, and after the consultative process of those 15 members of the Security Council. This time along, the Indians initially were able to have their statement drafted and presented by the United States, because United States is having a chair of the counter-terrorism seat. So therefore, they wanted the United States to present that statement. And if that statement had the link of Pakistan, then yesterday what the Security Council session, how it started, and how our permanent representative ambassador Asim Iftikhar presented our case, that he would have found it very hard. So now it's easier, and this time along, I'm expecting that since the Kashmir agenda has once again come to the fore, and then the world has started thinking, oh my God, why these flashpoints, why these two nuclear states are coming face to face every now and then. So now they have no option. At least this agenda point, which was at the back burner, is now once again at the forefront of the world. And this way, I think Kashmiris would, in occupied Kashmir, would really find it much easier to now let the world know. And of course, the world community would now be able to ponder upon all those reports which we've been submitting, and which the Human Rights Commission and Human Rights Commissioner has been presenting it to the world. I would remind your viewer that there were two very volumetric reports which the Human Rights Council and then Human Rights Commissioner had presented it in front of the entire world, and that is part of United Nations. That is one part, and the second part is that a dossier of 151 pages we also compiled and we submitted. Okay, the world can say that Pakistan is a party, but at least United Nations organ, that is the Commission of the Human Rights, that is not a party, and they have given all the account of it. And my last point, is that we are very open, and we have asked the entire world, we have told the entire world, we have given the offer to the Indians that, look, that's
Inquiry or the
fine, we are
impartial
just making the
inquiry.
allegation. The impartial and transparent inquiry. That made all the difference as a matter of fact this time, and it was very timely. It was before the Security Council could issue that statement of which I've just referred to. So that means this time, because there are already about 15 United Nations Security Council resolution which could not be implemented, and it could not have been implemented because it was passed under Chapter 6 of the United Nations Charter. Now, this time around, I think the temperature has risen so much, and the BJP government, propelled with the RSS ideology and the Akhand Bharat ideology, now the world, I think, started knowing that this is a dangerous the area of the world where the two nuclear armed neighbors can come face to face anytime. And therefore, I feel that if we follow some of the measures, I can give you one very quick example. So I was in United Nations. I've served there more than about 9.5 years. And at one occasion, I suggested to my leadership at that time, and we invited Security Council members at the disputed area, which was in the East Timor. And likewise, now that we are exposing our the entire area, which the Indian is hiding from the entire world, their part of it, we are taking all the media people. We should also send an open invitation to Security Council members that anyone who wants to visit Pakistan territory is open to them. And Indians should open it, fine enough. Indians cannot even open their territory, which they are obliged to for the United Nations of military observers, which is an obligation under the Security Council Resolution 51
The
and 47.
UNMOGIP has not been able to get access to IIOJK, and that is another question mark altogether. Coming to you, Chitrali Saab, Ambassador Jamil Saab highlighted different perspectives of Pakistan's diplomatic apparatus and how Pakistan has been successfully highlighting that and how what needs to be done. The fact is also that India, on the one hand, blames Pakistan, on the other hand, involves itself in all kinds of nefarious activities within Pakistan. We cannot forget the Jafar Express incident, and now, according to credible intelligence sources, the infamous Indian intelligence agency has activated its proxies in different parts of Balochistan. How do you interpret the timing of this activation and a major terrorist plot that has also been unearthed in Balochistan being uncovered right after India's Pahalgam's false flag operation failed on the international stage? Is it a reaction? Is it a repercussion? Because India could not achieve what it wanted, so it is now doing what it has been perpetrating since the last few years.
So looking up to the, we say the political behavior of India, linking with the Maryam points and Dr. Jamil Saab points, as Maryam stated that there in last 25 years the different incidents been happened. If we see the Pakistan always facilitated diplomatically for the regional peace, but right now India and linking to Dr. Jamil Saab, I think the UN role is really questioned on this, and the statements of the coming from the United Nations Secretary General Office. In that, it's really important right now to be force India to address this Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Right now, as we had two programs before about the Muslim and the Muslim tension regarding Waqf Amendment Bill and what happened in the Uttarakhand. Right now, I think India thought that it will be an open, I can say it really with the facts that India is always good in getting the sympathy from the world, but this time India failed to, because everyone is saying about. And right now, even the India opens the arms and everything, I don't think India can open the arms, because serving at the diplomatic arena, and like I had the experience with the interaction with the different developing and developed countries during my United Nations service. So I see India is already privatized to the international world. We see like India always take a pride that we have the economic growth. It's not their own economic growth, it's the growth because of the intervention of the international investment. And no one can, I think, no investor would ever like that there would be a disturbance in the region. And Pakistan is still facilitating that, even by, like we see that they open the grounds. Now we talk about the Balochistan thing. And even you see their media, if we see the media role, media is right now directly threatening Even like I saw a video in the morning, they say on a 28th May we are going to do this, on a 27th May we are going to do this. Just wait for the 15 days we are going. What is this kind of a behavior you are doing out? And like
Warmongering.
yeah,
This is called warmongering.
Warmongering. And this is the wicked role in the regional peace India is playing. Right now, Pakistan, even we see the diplomatic role, establishment role, or the governance role from the end of the Pakistan, it was really legitimate, and they answer it really well. Till that, you know, like our youth is taking it as a meme, and I think they are still like looking up this all as a fun from the India side, because India is doing it from a really long time, always like provoking.
But it's not fun for Pakistan in any way possible.
No.
I'll come to Maryam. Maryam, activation of ROS proxies as per this report that has been unearthed, including BLA, Fitnal Kharij, illegal Afghan operatives, indicates India's long-term strategy to destabilize Pakistan. This is nothing new. You have talked about it many times in your shows. I have done so as well. What message should now Pakistan send to India and the global community regarding the this exposure of this plot to further destabilize Pakistan in Balochistan, particularly in terms of deterrence, response readiness, and diplomatic counter-offensive? What kind of message should now Pakistan give?
Right. First of all, Umar, when we look at Pakistan's response, in my opinion, it has been very measured, and a very good response has been given to the international community so far, that we are ready. And if you go for it, we are going to go ahead as well. And we are not going to be restraining this time like we did previously. So that was a very loud and clear message. And of course, we are ready for any kind of, God forbid, military action. If it happens, that is going to be affecting billions of people. And we know that people on both sides of the are living below the poverty line. So this is not just a meme for the youngsters. This is a serious thing. And when we talk about war, we cannot forget the war in Ukraine. We cannot forget the war in Palestine. So of course, Pakistan is giving very measured response. As far as you mentioned about the proxies, of course, we know that since China-Pakistan economic corridor started happening, that was
one of their main targets.
Exactly, that is one of the main target, that they don't want Pakistan to achieve and have economic stability. And any country can have economic stability if they have security, and hence they are targeting the security of our country. We have, whenever we have any biggest investment platforms or conferences, India does something like that. And like I mentioned earlier, this is history of India. Either it is anyhow related to the elections in India, or some kind of visit from US.
This is also what they're saying this time also. This is related to the it is politically motivated, politically related, because there are elections that are happening in Bihar
and
other
a lot of commanders have of course accepted, and they have confessed that they have not only been trained by Indian camps, but also they were given other facilities by India. So we cannot forget that the terror that we are witnessing today in Balochistan and parts of KP is sponsored by Indian proxies.
All right. Jamil Saab, coming to you, this revelation, although it's a new report, but many of such reports have come in the past. Pakistan has highlighted that on national, international levels. But one thing that I feel needs to be there now, in the wake of this report and previous reports, Jafar Express incident and all the other incidents that have happened before that, how should or how can Pakistan leverage this revelation such as this one and others, including India's direct involvement, to build a stronger case against India at FATF?
There are three main streams of approaching such problems by any nation of the world. One is the traditional diplomacy, and through traditional diplomacies, all our embassies, all our missions, they approach their host government, and through note verbal, through their interaction, through their formal and informal interaction, they apprise them and they make them cognizant of what we are discussing here and what are the points enunciated in our National Security Committee statement. So around that point, because that has now become our foreign policy at this point, what statement was issued. by the National Security Committee. So that is to be really made known to all the countries where we have our missions and where our ambassadors are accredited. That is the traditional diplomacy. Then comes the public diplomacy, what we are doing here, right? And what the Indians are trying to do all over the world, negative propaganda. So that could be circumvented. That negative propaganda can be circumvented of Indians by our positive release of the informations. And it's nothing but what has been happening in past and the dossier what we have submitted, and we have to align this dossier. Now we have a very strong point with us. We have to align this dossier with the what India has been doing transnational terrorism, which is what they have done in Canada, Pradeep Singh, and what they have tried to do with Mr. Poonam, who is the Justice for Six chairman, and what they have done in UK and what they have done in Pakistan. So unless we make that package, and that package linking India, what proof they have left in Canada, in five eyes countries, US and Pakistan and elsewhere, that package is to be presented through the traditional diplomacy and through the public diplomacy, what we are doing here. And our ambassadors, in fact, now they should try and have the dynamism to go around and attract the local media. And they've been attracting Pakistani media, but that's not of any use. Because basically, they have to make those populations cognizant so that there is a bottoms up pressure to those respective government through their own public that, look, this is a human right violation in Kashmir. Look, there is a Human Rights Commission report in which they have indicated how the pellet guns were used, how the people were raped, how people were arrested, how extrajudicial killing has been made. We can discuss it 101 times, but unless it is disseminated to the world community, it would not have itself. So that's the public diplomacy. Last one in the mainstream of diplomacy is the legal diplomacy, what our permanent representative of our ambassador Asim Iftikhar has done on the instructions of the government of Pakistan, that we have asked for the session which has been convened. And by the way, Security Council has a tedious method of convening the session. That by itself is a success that the session has been convened, and this is an agenda of Pakistan has called, and Pakistan has given its briefing. It would be very hard for the world not to lend their ear on it, because we are presenting the facts. We are showing them that we want absolutely transparent thing. We have told them that we don't want any kind of don't want to do any aggression, and we have made it very clear that it is our existential threat, and we will take it as the declaration of war if the water is stopped. So that is a red line for the entire world. And why it is a red line? Because recent article published by Mr. Bryan, who is a professor in Colorado University, and he writes that the two countries anywhere in the world, if they are nuclear, if there's a flashpoint, then the entire world would be affected, and 1 to 2 billion people can lose their life. The climate can change. The people can start dying with hunger, the contamination, the water contamination, and all the diseases what it takes place. So that's why this time along, I'm hoping that all the Security Council resolution which has been passed under Chapter 6, now perhaps with that consistency with Pakistan can try and propel through our all missions, what I've just mentioned, 3 main streams. In that case, we should be able to, the world community should be able to get some resolution passed. So far, there is no resolution passed under Chapter 7, by the way. And that is the main problem. This time around, I feel that because Pakistan has really made it very crystal clear and articulated its point under the legal framework of the world, this time along, I feel that the Security Council would think about passing a resolution under Chapter 7, Article 39, which would be a binding on India. And therefore, I'm hoping that the Kashmir problem now would be on the limelight once again, and the world have to really have some focus on this very point. So I personally feel that all this Modi government, what they are doing with the power of the RSS ideology, they their own person has really cited an example, and very interesting one, as a matter of fact, from India, their opposition in a live program of Indian television, he showed a video on his phone in which the Palgram incident was being cited in Bihar to attract voters and supporters. So, so long as the national security is compromised and utilized for the political purpose of BJP propelled by RSS, I think the world would keep facing this danger of bringing two nuclear neighbors on a flashpoint. And that is what the new dimension this time I see that the world might as well. But for that, I think the way we are maintaining this momentum, the way we are having this wavelength with most of the leaders of the world community, we have to really keep maintaining this thrust and this momentum. And as I said, that we have to add new dimensions to it by calling the world that, look, this is what we are saying, this is what Canada has said, this is what the US has said, and that's what the pattern of the India. And therefore, the world has to now do something. And Pakistan never want to do any aggression. Pakistan want to have a peaceful relation with all its neighbors, and we can only respond and respond very ruthlessly in case our own respect and honor is compromised and we are attacked. And in that case only will
In any
respond. So
case,
this time I think
for any
there is no
eventuality, Pakistan, Jamil Saab, is extremely ready and prepared. Chitrali Saab, what in your point of view, I'd just like to add to that. He talked about the, keep maintaining the momentum, and Pakistan has been maintaining that momentum. Pakistan has been talking about it in all the different fora. In the National Assembly also, there's a debate on this very issue that is going on as we speak. Our Minister for Information, Ataullah Tarar, also made a very strong, point, or made many strong points as far as India's involvement and Pakistan's defense strategies are concerned. He also talked about the state-sponsored terrorism in Pakistan. What, in your point of view, when it comes from our information minister, what could be the broader regional security and diplomatic consequences on our minister's statement that says that India engages in state-sponsored terrorism in Pakistan? This is, of course, an official statement.
If we look into these statements on the working and clearing up my last one, I was saying that the fun thing there I want to clear. I just want to say that in a warfare, it's always like the other country try to develop a pressure, and Pakistan is actually absorbing that pressure and is still maintaining the momentum, really working on it. So coming to this point, when the official statement came from the sponsor terrorism, it's not a vague thing anymore. We have the issue of the Kulbhushan Yadav, the incident of the Abhinandan, and the recent the Jafar Express clearly state that the militants, the non-state active militants, which we find out from there, they had a direct linkages with India, and it's been proven right now. And I think this is a really responsible statement right now. For right now, we are talking about the world community and other thing, but right now we are lacking in the regional, like the regional intergovernmental organization, the platform, the SAARC. The platform SAARC.
That is sabotaged by India anyway.
Yes, definitely, all the time, all the time. Right now, I think India has to take it serious, and I think from the inside India, there need to be a lobbying or a pressure group from their think tanks. Even though I think the think tanks, even right now,
there's a very strong influence as far as even the think tanks are concerned. Everybody is under Narendra Modi's
yes,
influence.
definitely. Which what am I saying right now? The India where we see, to their media, to their think tanks, everywhere we see really irrational behavior and really like some wicked role. I think a wicked, a morally wrong.
Well, last question to you, Maryam. We're short of time, so I'll make the question short as well. Our information minister mentions Pakistan's success in the information war. He talked about playing the armed forces anthem on Indian YouTube channels very recently as well. A short answer: how critical or crucial is information warfare in modern conflicts, and is Pakistan effectively using this to counter Indian propaganda that is rampant on social media?
Of course, Omar, this is an open truth now that Pakistan has won this information warfare as far as Pakistan's ties with India is concerned, and of course post Pahalgam incident. But I would also like to mention that when we talk about United Nations, we must remember that Kashmir issue remains one of the oldest
Yes.
issue on
True,
the
true,
agenda.
true.
So this must also be brought to light when we talk about information warfare. So as far as information warfare is concerned, Pakistan is winning this warfare, and Pakistan is of course propagating for peace. While we are prepared, but at the same time Pakistan is propagating for peace of not only India and Pakistan, but for Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and for the regional peace as well, because this region, any such incident is going to be having repercussions or implications for the globe as well. We cannot forget that.
All right, we should not forget that, and we cannot forget that information warfare, hybrid warfare, technical warfare, regional warfare, this is something that India loves to play with. But of course, India has now realized, so have all the important powers across the world, how strong Pakistan is when it comes to all kinds of warfare, and how ready Pakistan is if India attempts any such malicious design on Pakistan through any form of warfare. But India should remember, and I think will continue to remember 2019 if it attempts any of that, because we will be 2 or 3 notches up if they attempt anything of that sort. Umar, Khalid, bids you farewell from this. Our fellow anchors will be joining us in the coming hours as well. Stay tuned right here to BTV World, where we are objective, we are truthful, and we state only the facts. Allah Hafiz.